Folks, we are live. Hello. Oh, hello. Hello.
Hello.
How
How are you?
I am Baba Walla. Sorry, but folks, I am Rach Tenkar. You're listening and watching Gamers Health. With me is none other than my lovely wife, Rach.
Hello.
And with us, with the avocado plushie, is our niece, Shannon. The one that keeps us honest, such as it is. Say hi, Shannon.
Hi.
There you go. So, Shannon decided to stay with us last moment, which was actually awesome because, as my usual viewers know, I am a retired cop. I was working on 9/11. I responded to Ground Zero. It's a heavy day. I lost a personal friend who was not a police officer that day, Paul Benedetti. So if we're going to actually dedicate this episode to anybody, it would be to Paul.
Nice.
20 years today. So before we delve into what we're going to delve into, which is going to be obviously mental health aspects, pandemic, the view from 10 years of age, but yet extremely mature.
But so many more years of wisdom
Yes, to gain.
than just 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
That's you, Shannon.
the thing that there's many things that I remember about 9/11, and I discussed some of them on last week's show. But one was actually returning home that night to family home with my parents, and it's the only time that I actually parked in a fire hydrant, zero directly on it, put my parking plaque on it, just didn't care. I went home in uniform. My uniform was navy blue. Theoretically, it was gray. And we didn't know. We really had no idea. All I knew is that I got to the house. I was like, I can't go in wearing what I'm wearing. So, Shannon, your mother was at the house, and she
was still living here.
still living here.
Mhm.
She came out with a garbage bag, and I literally stripped my clothes off on the porch at around just after midnight, I guess. And she bagged it all up and she put it right into the washing machine. I think she washed it twice.
Aww.
And then I went right up and I took a long shower, and then came down, and I believe Mom had made stew. So what had happened is that earlier in the day, early evening, late afternoon, we had no cell phones that worked. So there was a concern amongst you really do become your own unit. There was 8 of us, 8 cops, 1 sergeant, my sergeant Michelle, and none of us had a cell phone that could get a signal. And lo and behold, we see a cell phone on the ground, and we pick it up, and it gets a signal, and we're like, "Holy crap!" So now, any other day, you're a cop. You're going to take the cell phone, you're going to bring it back to the station house or the nearest police facility, and you're going to vouch for it. You're going to turn it in for safekeeping, determine true ownership. We made an exception because it was 9/11, and we had families that did not know if we lived or died. So the deal was everybody. Again, this is 2001. For those of you that are younger and don't remember what it was, cell phones were expensive back then. You got what, 30 minutes maybe for $30, right? You really, we didn't want to hurt anybody's plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we all designated one phone call. So my phone call was to my parents, and it was to my parents, and it was like, "Hey, I'm alive. I am going to give you a bunch of phone numbers. I need you to call people. I need you to," and I gave them, I forget which of my friends I gave them the number. Oh, they had already spoken with my friend Dave. Dave had called to check on me and to find out about our friend Paul, because nobody could heard from Paul. Like I said, we lost him that day.
Mm-hmm.
But I had my parents call back Dave and let Dave do The phone chain of you call a friend and you call a friend and pass the word down. And I also had them call my son's mother and let her know that I was alive.
Yeah.
And then I was okay at that point. I was no longer worrying about the people that were worrying about me. So, and I think again we had there was stew waiting, and I coughed down stew and literally went to bed to wake up 4 hours later to be back at work at 6 a.m. and started all over again.
In the site.
Well, actually, it was not the most. Here's the thing: until 9/11, we hadn't dealt with anything like 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay, we hadn't dealt with jurisdictions from as far away as Chicago sending us assistance that night. Didn't have plans for it. Didn't have rules and regulations or any kind of, oh wow, if New Jersey Corrections is sending us 100 corrections officers to do secure the area, what do we do with them? We didn't know. So what happened was that first day was a mess. I believe the first day after 9/11, 9/12, I was assigned. The other issue is we had no idea as a city, as a department, the NYPD, that there were going to be further targets. So everything was considered a target. And I'm almost smiling when I think about it because I was assigned in my own personal vehicle, meaning that if they tried to do a car bomb, I was supposed to block it with my 92 Nissan Stanza. I was assigned to Spofford Juvenile Corrections Facility.
That was going to be a target?
We didn't know. We didn't. If you might wanted to kill some of the kids in the Bronx.
Yes.
The worst kids in the Bronx, but yes. So that was where I was assigned.
A correctional facility for troubled children.
That day. And now it was either that was Wednesday. I believe Thursday I was assigned as mobilization, and the mobilization task force, or whatever to call it, was set up at the 4A precinct. So they literally had, I don't know, 200-300 police officers. They're laughing because of the karaoke in the background from our neighbors. But we had a couple hundred police officers outside the 4A precinct, which was the borough command in the Bronx, sitting on street corners with nothing to do but think about the events of 9/11. You would watch things like, hey, Joe, welcome. Ty, welcome. So the only things that we would actually see that would distract us would be Air Force and naval fighter jets flying the air of New York City, which was hugely surprising to see. But we weren't doing anything. We were hurry up and wait. After the first 8 hours of hurry up and wait, sitting on these street corners with no food, no water, no bathrooms, they started a chant. And the chant was, send us down or send us home. Because there were cops just crying their eyes out. I mean, literally bawling because we lost family and friends and coworkers. And they sent out a deputy inspector to quiet us down. I believe it was Inspector Bax. And he gets on a megaphone, and the amount of four-letter words that were thrown out there were very surprising and very.
No, it wasn't cease and desist.
No, it was very energetic. So then they sent out the XO, the one-star chief, to talk to us. And I believe that there were a few empty soda bottles thrown in that direction. And finally, finally, the chief came out, and the chief explained that what we were doing was absolutely necessary because, again, we didn't know if there were going to be further attacks. Because that first day, long shot, hello.
Spofford.
Well, listen, those first couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
we heard rumors. We heard a lot of rumors. There was a rumor that um, uh, one of the cadets are college students that go through a little bit of the academy,
Mm-hmm.
and they plan, because they're going to get their college education paid. They plan to become cops. There was rumors that a cadet was involved in the plot and was missing.
Oh,
There was so much stuff that listen, just from a gaming point of view, if you
any possible
the
rumor leading you
if you
took
were ever
seriously,
going,
of course.
every rumor became legit until you proved it otherwise.
Mm.
If it got enough volume, and it was rough, it was hard, and I'll be honest with you, as rough as I had, there were many cops that had it worse, because I had it rough. I figured, because I worked 6 days a week for the next couple of months, generally working 14 to 18 hours a day, and those were long hours. Don't get me wrong, but I had off Sundays. I had off Sundays, and I would just sleep the whole day away. But I had off Sundays.
Sure.
There were certain precincts, certain commands that they didn't have off any days. Also, I was supposed to be on vacation that week. I came in on 9/11. That Tuesday, because you know how French, what was Prince Spaghetti Day?
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday was Prince Spaghetti Day.
Prince Spaghetti Day.
Tuesday was Map Day. Tuesday was the day that the crime maps had to get out. That was my responsibility, and I was going to just come in. And I was supposed to go up to visit my aunt in Plattsburgh. She was terminally ill with cancer. So all vacations were canceled, but because I was supposed to visit a terminally ill loved one, I actually was given off a couple of days the following week to go up with my mother and visit with my Aunt Penny in the midst of all this. But, I mean, it was just such a confusing shit show, and you would think that because of that, there would be certain procedures put in, so when we had Hurricane Katrina, we wouldn't have had the issues that we had even with Katrina, which was a lot of it was cross-department communication. Departments talking 10 codes. NYPD has its own
Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina, years later, was another situation where multiple law enforcement departments from throughout the country responded to an emergency.
Okay.
And they weren't able to communicate effectively because of this cross communication was not put fully into place at that point.
There wasn't like a national sort of.
There still isn't a national 10 code. What there is that basically when it comes into these emergencies, you start talking like civilians. You don't go,
okay.
Central, be advised, I have I'm responding to a 1032. My perpetrator is a, 90 zebra. No, it's like Central, I'm responding to a robbery in progress. You get there. Be advised, the perpetrator has fled. Plain talk, right? The reason why there's no plain talk on police radio is so people like you can't necessarily understand exactly what's going on, is to give that little bit and allow cops to talk quicker than having to spell.
Like a shorthand.
It's a shorthand. So it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So today was, needless to say, an emotional and stressful day. So having Shannon come over, oh my God, is just such an emotional boost to my energies and to my emotional status. But I didn't actually spend, Rach and I, we spent a couple of hours with my friend Brian. Brian is one of my friends who was working in the towers. I had 4 friends working in the towers or Building 7. And 3 made it out and made it home and are still with us, and we lost 1, Paul. And the remarkable thing about Paul is that Paul was there for the bombings in '93. So when they tried to take the towers down the first time, Paul was there and walked down like 80 some odd flights of stairs with, he would tell the story about, and I was with this oh my God, this fat woman, she could barely walk, and it took so long getting down the stairs, and everybody was passing us. Well, why was everybody passing us unless you took it upon yourself to make sure this woman got out? That's what he did. And it's the reason why he didn't get out. If he worked for Aon, my understanding is the only person from his office that did not get out was Paul. He took it upon himself to make sure everybody else was out, called his wife, left a message, which was played on Fox News at the time, that I'm gonna be home early, but the plane crashed into the tower, and if you could just have my scotch waiting for me, I'm gonna
Yeah, people didn't think it was as destructible as it was.
And nobody thought it. I mean, to be honest,
And nobody thought, like, when I heard of it, like, I was giving medication to the patients on my drug and alcohol unit, and I let them have the TV for, until we could start the morning meeting after meds. And they're like, Miss Rachel, a plane hit the towers. And I'm like, oh, it must be a little helicopter or something. Don't worry.
No big deal.
Yeah. And I think that's mostly what we all thought until we were horrified to see what really happened.
I'd read your quote, but I'd probably cry. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Yeah. Thank you, Ty. I mean, again, it was when you see a homeless man and a businessman directing traffic so emergency vehicles can get through, and they're working together because the businessman's briefcase is sitting on top of the homeless man's shopping cart, street homeless. Two things. You're in for a world of shit, and that people are
pulling together.
Americans can pull together. Mm-hmm. So in these times of such emotional strife between political extremes on both sides, which generally I can tell you can both go yourself.
Too right.
In the end, we're Americans, right? We're humans. We come together in times of need. It's how we survive. And I'll be honest with you. That's what I like to take out of 9/11. I like to take out of 9/11 the things that I saw where people were strong and coming together, and the local businessmen that emptied out their convenience stores or their supply rooms and in apartment buildings and just brought out water for us, food for us, sandwiches. It was just an amazing point. And these were people that were in that area, because I got news for you. If you weren't already starting within that area, you weren't getting in. Okay, we shut things down pretty well. We had one reporter who tried to come in 3 or 4 times. The final time, stealing a stethoscope that she must have found, trying to claim that she was medical response. But Randy, one of the officers I worked with, recognized her and took care of that very well. Put the fear of God in her, and we would have arrested this woman for trespass, but it would have meant taking people off the post, and that you weren't going to do that back then. Not for this kind of bullshit. But it was great seeing Brian today, because Brian, it is a connection I've had since I was in high school. I talk about my friends. This is my gaming group. This is why it's important as gamers. These connections that you make as gamers. Listen, we don't. Me and my friends. Okay, when we get together, we still get together to I hate to say it like this, the survivors. We get together every springtime. We get together and we don't sit around and we don't talk politics. We play heavy metal music videos and other stupid shit on YouTube and drink and talk gaming and reminisce about the good times. And we do this in memory of Paul. We started doing this after we lost Paul, realizing we needed to do an event that didn't just memorialize Paul, but also would bring us together on a regular basis. Now, my son was 8 at the time of 9/11, and I remember him drawing me a picture of a building with lasers on it, shooting down airplanes. And now, no 8-year-old should have to think about shooting down airplanes. I'm going to tell you that much right now. But that's what he did for me in the days after 9/11 to make me feel better. Our current generation, effectively, has their own 9/11, right? They have their own mark that's going to affect them for their life, and that's the pandemic. That's part of the reason why we got Shannon over here, because Shannon is the generation that is going to look back at this and go, well, before the pandemic, I did ABC, and after the pandemic, I did ABC with a mask and social distancing. So Shannon, this is you're going into.
She's in 5th grade right now.
You're going into 5th grade. This is going to be your 2nd year. The pandemic started in 3rd grade for you.
Yep.
You went through
3rd? Yeah.
You went through all of 4th grade with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now you're going into 5th grade. Have things changed in the classroom since this all started? Like, we know what normality was before the pandemic, and then we had a normality at the beginning of the pandemic. And then did that change? Did they sort things out a bit?
Yes, they put shields on our desks, plastic shields, to block germs that we might breathe out, which was stupid because that's actually more harmful.
Right.
It collects germs over time. They might as well have just given us masks. Which this year they took those down.
Okay.
Now we have to wear masks inside.
Okay.
Last year we had to have our desks 6 feet apart. Now it's only 3. We don't have to wear masks outside.
And that's good. I mean, there's a compromise.
Recess.
Right. And you get to.
Without it.
I mean, I've seen, and it's just an observation, but I've seen some people who in the restaurant, they have their mask on. They tell you don't have to wear a mask in the restaurant if you're eating. So they'll pull their mask down, throw food in their mouth real quick. And
like on the plane, you're like.
You know what? I wasn't like that on the plane.
I did because I saw other people doing it.
Listen, there's reality, and then there's
and then drinking got to be hard. So I'm like,
yeah, because they don't give you a straw on the plane. I guess
no, they have to give straws now.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
but then the plastic people are gonna get upset. So
and oh God,
we can't do anything. Right?
Don't even, Shannon. Do you have straws in school for your drinks?
No.
Okay. Because if you did, they'd probably give you those paper straws. Have you dealt with a paper straw yet?
That is a horrible, horrible mouthfeel.
All right. So what is your opinion of a paper straw?
It's disgusting.
Yes.
Just take a sip of the water.
Whatever. Right. I mean, the paper straw has a weird taste to it. Adds like a paper taste to whatever you're drinking. Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't bring back good memories. It's like the pixie sticks that would stick on your lips. That sugar came in the little tube in the little straw.
Pixie sticks weren't good?
They were good, but the packaging was horrible because then, you'd want to, get it out. And so, you'd suck on it. And then
so in other words,
it was nasty. Those wrappers ruined it.
Shannon, do you ever have a pixie stick?
No.
Right.
Well, yeah, I have pixie sticks.
So
I was wondering, did they take them away?
You have to show Auntie how to eat a pixie stick. Now, the ones that they took away were the candy cigarettes. They don't make candy cigarettes anymore. You would get the candy cigarettes.
I thought your mom was getting candy cigarettes.
Well, you used to get the candy cigarettes where they were wrapped in paper.
Oh, it was bubble gum.
It was bubble gum.
Yes.
And it would blow, and it would
look like smoke, and you'd be like, "I'm so cool."
Yeah. Oh God. It made future smokers. But so I mean, listen, there are a lot of events that are going to define society, I guess.
Generations.
Yeah. I mean,
and eras, I guess.
Yeah. So now Shannon, since your desks are now closer together, does that mean that there's more students in the class?
No, there's the same amount. It's just they got more furniture now. Last year, we couldn't have much furniture in the class because they needed the whole classroom just to be space for desks. And now we have more furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Like what kind of furniture?
We have more tables, more closets, bookshelves.
All right, so it's less Spartan. Now it looks like a real classroom with, I guess, masks. Which again, I understand, especially among students that are not going to be vaccinated, and I am not going to get into the vaccination argument, other than saying you have to. And I'll say it now, so I have to say it later. You got to make decisions about your health with your medical professionals that will keep you.
Right,
your
she's
family,
still
your friends,
too young
healthy
to
and
even
safe.
be eligible for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it. I deal with her. Shannon, what's the big joke the uncle always makes with you?
I don't know. You make a lot of jokes with me.
Well, the biggest one I always think is, Shannon, you driving?
Oh, yeah.
Because you look at this young lady, and I could see her driving and probably being more responsible than I was when I was 3 times her age at the age of 29, 30, saying I could take this 92 Nissan Stanza at 200 miles per hour. And I did. I almost blew the engine on that damn thing doing it. But I no, don't do that. Don't do that. She wouldn't do that. She's a smart young lady. So now, Shannon, since you're here, I got another question to ask you, and I think it's an important one. Shannon has a remarkable voice, by the way. It's my friend, the Greyhawk Grognard, Joe. From New Jersey. Now, Shannon, when the pandemic hit, how did kids interact? Like when you went out and actually played or went on a play date, did you all have to like step back?
It was always outside, and no, we didn't really care at all. It was what our parents said, and we would normally hide from them.
And like, go outside, don't be in here. And then it became very different.
Yes.
Got some fresh air, became no, you're not going out.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. I mean, I think that a lot of the issues with the pandemic has been a lot of the mixed messaging, depending, dare I say it, which way the wind blows.
Horrible messaging.
So do I have what's the word I'm looking for here? Pandemic anxiety, but am I worn out from the pandemic? Yeah.
I think it's grating on us all.
I fully believe that we're going to get to a point, if this doesn't wrap up sooner than later, that there's going to be a portion of our society that's just going to go, screw it, and just say, Shannon, your generation, how frustrating is it to have to wear a mask most places?
Well, it's frustrating in the way that people don't quarantine themselves when they know they need to. They still go out. They don't care. It's frustrating that people don't take responsibilities, because if they would be responsible, we wouldn't have to be doing
to
this.
Take responsibility for themselves.
Yes.
To try and keep society safe.
Yes.
And quarantine, then they are, well.
Yes. This would have been gone so long ago if they would have just been responsible, but people are still saying, let's party, let's go out. And this is why people are stuck wearing masks, quarantining themselves if they're responsible enough.
Right. Okay, that's the whole thing. If you are sick, now like today, my nose is running because of allergies and the fact that I am emotional and have been on the verge or beyond the verge of tears at certain points today. But if otherwise, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I got sinuses and I can't smell or taste anything, it's not the perfect time to go out to, I don't know, Saturday night karaoke and sing your
share
lungs
the microphone
out.
with everybody under the sun.
It's like, oh, I got this horrible cough. Oh, let me go out there to the gym. Let me ride the subways. There are common sense ways to protect this.
And they always told you if you were feeling unwell, don't go in the train.
Right.
There were always public service announcements telling you not to. They were more concerned about delays and stuff like that than, transmission of viruses. But
Transmission.
just stay home and don't inconvenience us all by like passing out or, having the train have to stop for you.
Yeah, we don't want to have to fumigate the train.
Yeah, now they say if you don't feel well, stay home because of transmissibility.
So Shannon, here's a good question, actually, and it's good for you. In North Carolina, playgrounds were off limits for over a year.
Really?
Were they ever closed by you in Nassau County?
I'm not sure during the height of the pandemic because we never went out then.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But when we did start going out, they were open.
Okay. I know that at the height of the pandemic, I only know this because of watching certain YouTube channels. Our good friend from Brooklyn, the one that was running Heshy Tischler.
Heshy Tischler. Yes.
Heshy, in the midst of the pandemic last summer, he was like doing a sit-in at one of the local playgrounds because a lot of these local playgrounds in New York last summer were closed. They were closed. They were chained up. And let's be honest. Outside is not where the transmission is really happening when you enclose people and make them participate in events together in an enclosed space. Then you get the transmission. If you're going to do karaoke, do it like our neighbors. Do it outside in the backyard and make sure everybody can hear.
Yes.
What a Brooklyn name. Yes, Heshy Tischler. You can look up
wow.
Hello. You can look up Heshy Tischler on YouTube. He also has like a public access radio show. It's also on YouTube.
He puts it on YouTube like on Wednesday night.
Yes. I don't get a chance because I do my live stream on Wednesday night.
It's called Just Enough Heshy.
Because you can't have too much Heshy Tischler, but you can have just enough. But yes, very, very New York, Brooklyn. If the name and my accent brings any images, they don't do it justice.
No.
But Heshy is a character. But he was very.
Soya.
Oh yes, his wife Soya.
I know that.
No.
His friend's wife.
His friend's wife Soya.
And the friend's on it too.
I forget his name. Oh God. Boomy. Oh my
Boomy.
God. Joe, you can't get more.
They're like Boomy. You have to stop because Boomy was very opinionated.
No playgrounds equals fat kids. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
And no playgrounds also equals children, young adults that aren't going to get a chance to socialize, right? I mean, we take a lot of socialization for granted because we are gamers, right? We're like, wow, when we sit down at a convention or we sit down at a game store or sit down at our table, we socialize. But younger kids, I mean, Shannon is somebody who loves her apps on her tablet. And she loves to play with a lot of her school friends on her tablet, right? Mm-hmm. But she also goes out on play dates. And when you didn't have those play dates, I think it was all on your tablet. I mean, Shannon is not.
That must have been really hard.
Shannon doesn't have an ounce of fat on her. You wouldn't believe.
No.
This kid is amazing. But if it was me as a kid and you told me, guess what? You can't go out for 6 months. Here, play on the Atari. I would have been, excuse my language, Shannon, a fat fuck. I still am, but
and happy as a pig in poo.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, wait, you're telling me I got to stay inside and play video games?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't really because of my situation, I couldn't participate in like team sports or that kind of thing. So you don't get as much. I'm not gonna say access because that's kind of weird, right? Like you're not as much encouraged to be like physically active.
Makes
Like when you
sense,
have visual issues, they're like, "Oh my god, she's gonna get hurt."
Let's have Rachel play dodgeball. Rachel, stand out there and
she already
dodge.
spent 2 weeks in the hospital from riding a bicycle and breaking her face. She's not going out and getting active anywhere,
I remember one time me and my friend, we hadn't had a sleepover in so long.
Uh-huh.
We had a digital sleepover.
Oh
We
my
stayed on call
god!
the whole night. Even
What
when
did you
we were
use?
sleeping.
Google?
We used Messenger.
Oh, okay.
That was that honestly was just sad at that point.
Oh, you were texting each other.
No, we were on
Video?
call.
Okay,
Well, that's interesting because that's in a
that's
way.
a really good way to make do.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, Shannon. So what a lot of gamers have done over the last year virtual tabletops, huge increase in the use of virtual tabletops because people weren't going to game stores. People weren't saying, "Hey, come over to my house, you 5-6 people, sit at my kitchen table and breathe on me and give me COVID." People were afraid of that stuff.
Yeah, and the whole Netflix party thing where you could look at movies together, shows together, and still be able to talk trash about them with your friends and experience it together still, like,
Yeah.
The way that we adapted was really
Well,
impressive.
there was a lot of adaptation going on, and there still
There
is.
still is.
And here's the thing. I'm sure a lot of kids got homeschooled during this. A lot of people who were on the edge about homeschooling probably said, well, the heck with it, I'm going to keep my kid home and homeschool him. And while homeschooling can be certainly good, I mean, I think, Shannon,
there's pros and cons to everything.
Given the choice, all right, and here we're going to put you on a spot, okay? Given a choice, where it's like, all right, listen, I could either go to a real school with my real friends, or have, I don't know, my mother and uncle teach me all my subjects during the day. What would you prefer?
Well, first of all, homeschooling for my school was the teacher taught you on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
right.
I would have felt bad for the teacher because they have to do their personal life, the in-school kid's life, and then the remote kid's life. And I would have chosen to be in school because, first of all, I've been remote before. It's very boring for me.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
for most kids.
I mean, interaction is a huge part of life. I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't think if we weren't in the midst of the pandemic that I would have gone to doing live streams and YouTube as early as I did. It probably would have taken months, if not years, before I had the guts to put myself out there. I would have said, podcasts are enough. Nobody sees me. Nobody's going to go, hey, look at that dumb schmuck. He didn't shave. And can you see me in the camera? I need to shave. But I would have been a bit more vague about it. But I find that visual cues, visually interacting with people, isn't the same as getting out there and, I don't know, playing in the schoolyard or kicking your friend over in the yard or tossing them in the pool. Not that Shannon would do any of that stuff.
No, we did that. We tossed my friend in the pool.
Okay,
cool.
All right. So, but this is certainly better than this, right? Not seeing anybody, not seeing the emotional feedback.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you. Now, that's something that Shannon's generation is going to have to deal with is masks, right? What do masks do? Masks cover your mouth. And when it covers your mouth, you don't see my expression.
You're only seeing a third of the facial expression.
Right. And most of your facial expressions are your mouth, whether you're smiling, frowning or whatever you're going to be doing. It's your mouth that's showing it. You're going to I think that Shannon's generation is going to get a lot better at reading people's eyes. Shannon's going to be a lot better at looking people, and go, oh, well, the way they squinted, I'm pretty sure that they were, I don't know, lying, full of poop, whatever. They're going to get good at that because they're going to be focusing on eyes more than the mouth because they've spent a good portion of their formative years not seeing mouths. Like you're wearing, when you had those shields up in school or on your desk, were you wearing masks too?
Yes.
So
wow.
Not only couldn't you see anything clearly because you were behind a plexiglass screen, you also were wearing a mask. So now we got rid of the screens. Back, we're still wearing masks.
You can't breathe. You can't see anything. It's foggy.
Yeah.
It's harmful. It doesn't do much of anything if you're still wearing a mask. You don't need plexiglass to cover it even more.
Yeah.
The mask's doing everything that needs to happen.
Right, and that falls under it falls under the concept of if one mask is good, two are better, three will stop everything, including all the air going into your lungs. I mean, honest to God, true story. Last May, so now this is right after the pandemic started coming back down a little bit, and the hospital that I got admitted to for my congestive heart failure opened up a COVID-free wing literally the day before I got there, so my timing was great. And I get transported for a scan, and my transporter, honest to God,
how many masks had he on?
He started the transport with at least 5 masks on.
Oh my God!
And he passed the station with more masks, and grabbed 2 more masks and put them on. I don't know. I don't know how he breathed. I don't know. I had 1 mask on, and that 1 mask, I was like, "This is horrible." And I saw him, and I'm like, "You know what?"
Were they the surgical masks or the N95?
He had every kind of mask on.
An N95 and then the surgical mask over top, just to be sure.
More, I mean, it was, but you know what? Whereas 9/11 is an incident that took place, and the actual impact, the initial impact was over in hours, and then took literally months to comprehend and to deal with. I mean, again, I was working 6 days a week, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. I think at least through Thanksgiving, because I know I did my Thanksgiving down at Ground Zero. There was a restaurant in the area that opened up just for those that were working Ground Zero, for rescue workers and cops and you got an honest to God beautifully delicious Thanksgiving dinner, all the trimmings. I remember that, so it tells me at least I was still doing those details, but it's that resolved again, and the timing was months. All right, we are nearly a year and a half into the pandemic, and it hasn't resolved, and it's rough, and as rough as it is on us, we are adults. In theory, at 54, I should have the coping mechanisms, right? I should be able to be. It's like, yeah, that sucks, but I am going to do this.
Well, that's the whole thing. You know, we can't live our lives in the state of like arousal, meaning like, you know, you're living in that fight or flight because of that constant anxiety of what's going to happen tomorrow with this, and you know, some of the other things that have been happening, you know, and you know, so something has to give. There has to be other ways that you take care of yourself so that you can activate, you know,
I'm going to go as far as to say
your parasympathetic nervous system to help you relax and
to some extent,
restore. Because if you're not restoring, you're kind of screwed.
To some extent, a lot of what we're going through, and I think for the younger you are, it's probably worse. It's almost like living in a war zone because you're constantly
Yeah.
under that threat,
Yeah.
and it's mentally and emotionally taxing. So, I mean, we
And
are
the messaging makes it worse.
yes.
And,
Now we are. You've listened to this young lady talk. She has her head screwed on tight.
Mhm.
If it was loose, I would tighten it for her. But I don't. I could try.
No, it's not going anywhere.
I can't.
Totally tight.
I with my bad shoulder here, I can't reach out properly to take care of it.
Mhm.
But not everybody that is younger, your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, people within your circle, are going to have the ability to deal with the current environment as strongly as others. So I think you have to take that into account. And I think one of the things we have to take into account is are we putting too much on these youngsters? I'm glad that you can go outside at school and not wear a mask. I mean that is like, oh, let's get some minimum common sense here. If the kids are outside, there's really no transmission except what they're going to keep on their mask. Maybe they can take the mask off and air them out when they go outside.
Mhm.
And that's. I'm glad to see that. And psychologically, I mean, Shannon, when you go outside at school and you're not wearing a mask, how's it feel?
Well, lately I've been wearing a mask outside, but before I didn't. That was it. It was the first time in a long time that I hadn't worn a mask at school.
Okay.
You nervous?
No.
No.
I don't know. I just don't mind it.
Okay. And
Well, masks for you are becoming the norm.
Yes.
You know, where like older people are like, oh, I'm so mad. Why do I have to? Especially when it's warm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to have this mask on. I'm walking this long distance and I'm huffing and puffing already or whatever, you know, and I have to wear this mask. It's crazy, right?
Here's something I saw today that confused me. Now, we went to a local park today, and Juniper Valley Park, and we were driving by the tennis courts, and there were two people playing tennis, right? Now, I don't know how big these courts are there, but they're full-size courts.
Yeah.
And
they're socially distanced. If
they are definitely
playing on the
they're playing on
opposite
opposite
sides.
sides, and both were wearing masks. And I don't understand that. I'm not saying don't wear masks. I'm just saying if
I'm running around after a ball,
yeah, I mean,
it might be hard to coordinate having my
you know, I've seen the
and
videos.
still move air.
I've seen videos of high school track athletes wearing masks when running, and we had the one girl that she passed out at the end. I mean, there's got to be a certain balance to the imbalance.
Yeah.
You know? And this is coming from somebody. And again, Rach and I were not masked. We were vaccinated as early as we could get vaccinated.
Like, where do I sign up?
Because I am full of comorbidities. It's like if it was one of those,
I've got my own too, and so
it's a checklist. Right? Oh, I'll take one from column A, obese, one from column B, congestive heart failure, cancer survivor. Would you like any others? Oh, high blood pressure. Can we throw that one in? Diabetes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't really want to play. And if that's what they're saying, the science shows like that it's going to help us, then we're going to jump on that, you know?
I mean, we're all gamers, or most of us are gamers, or gamer adjacent. And gamers always play the odds, right? You always know what the odds are. Sometimes you're like, well, the odds aren't in my favor, but I'm going to push it. I'm going to be lucky. Later, Joe. Thank you for dropping by. But we know the odds. I did the odds, did them in my head, and went, for me, getting the vaccine was the better odds. Same thing for Rach. It can be different for you. You know, I joke.
We're
with
all
you.
unique. We're all different.
Right.
You know,
You know,
you have to do your own assessment.
my son just got his second shot last week. He just, he's 28. He has no comorbidity except for like some minor asthma that I don't even know if he still has it. But that's all. It's on.
And seasonal
you.
allergies,
Yeah.
yes.
Listen, if
But-
if seasonal
No, I
allergies
know.
was a comorbidity, I'd be there. I'd be like, I've got every seasonal allergy every season. Just sign me up. I don't need anything else.
Mhm.
We're done. We're good for it. We're good for it. So, Shannon, do you have any other words of wisdom that you want to throw out there?
Just be responsible. And just protect yourself. Wear a mask when you need to.
Yeah, and also like think of other people, right?
Yep.
Like you can't just make a decision of what's going to be good for you right now because you want, you know. You might want to go shopping for that nice thing or whatever, and you're not feeling well. You know, why go out and
take a risk.
take a risk and infect somebody else?
Because you have to remember, the risk you're taking
Yeah.
is at somebody else's expense.
Yes.
All right.
Just think
There it
about your
is.
kids, your grandma, your parents, your friends.
Yeah.
Do you want to give it to them? No. Wait a little bit and do some online shopping.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shannon, Amazon, right?
It gets there pretty fast, right? Yeah.
We did a lot of Shannon's school shopping on Amazon. And actually, I want to ask you: did anybody comment on your what do you call it? The clipboard.
Not yet. I didn't bring it yet.
And did the scissors come that were pretty
The
funky?
Galaxy scissors.
We haven't used them yet.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
And did your pencils pass inspection?
Yep.
All right. Good.
Nice.
Nobody's gonna take my niece's pencils. I don't care. We got her the pencils that people are gonna go, I want one. Shannon, $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure if you sell them, $1 a piece. Make good money for them.
Exactly.
Don't go cheap. Don't go cheap.
Mm-mm.
All right, so we're not going to cover the. We've already covered the usual pandemic,
Yes.
and so we're going to say we're going to wrap this up. Thank everybody who stopped by. I really do appreciate it. Shannon appreciates it. She looks so great with that green behind her. It's like she's a princess with her avocado. So the whole thing matches in. Gonna have to take a screenshot of that later.
Yeah.
I'll just play it back and I'll just pull the Shannon out for.
Mm.
But folks, again, thank you so much. We are less than 10 people away from 1,000 subscribers. Please get us over the hump. We just want to get over the hump. It's clear sailing after that. We have plans for this channel to get 1,000. Help us get
Yeah,
there.
some good giveaways coming up.
Good giveaways. And Shannon can watch her uncle do yoga in yoga pants. Bright colored yoga pants.
I want to see that.
Yeah. So do other people. We're going to do it to raise money for St. Jude's.
Yeah. We'll do like maybe Eric will be like do the chair yoga, and then we'll have somebody else that's doing, or even I could do the yoga on the mat, so that people could see what kind of modifications are there, and then it's all yoga.
It's all yoga all the time.
Yeah.
So that'll be on this channel. No earlier than after game home, because I don't need to be properly mocked before game home. Okay, so we're gonna do this after game home. So people go around with like shirts with pictures of me, and that would be funny, but not that funny enough that I want to see it. Again,
Aww.
Thank you all. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice. And I will be back tomorrow, I guess, with an update in the on something or other related to gaming.
He'll find something.
I'll find something to talk about, and I'll keep my niece entertained in the meantime. All right, folks.
Thanks again, everyone.
Latest.